Dave. We are live at SHE-ness Tribe. I'm so excited to be here with my girlfriend, Tiffany Peterson. You guys, I know some of you have been waiting for her, the famous Tiffany Peterson. You guys, let me just say, well, let me do our regular, some of our introduction, and I got so excited. She's with us. So welcome to the Unity Forum, where women believe that we are to elevate each other, to eliminate competing and comparing, but collecting the best minds, because we are really #better together. And so I just am so blessed and honored to be able to have collected this serious, which way do I point in the camera? This serious mind of Tiffany. And you guys, unification fully to yourself. Therefore, you can come to the table as an elevated, confident, internally confident woman to accept other women fully and embrace them as they are, and then unify better to our men. And today, I'm going to introduce you to Tiffany. Okay, so here's why I'm so excited, you guys. So Tiffany and I were introduced to each other, over a year ago now, right, Tiffany?
At least a year, babe.
At least a year ago, at least. And her reputation preceded herself. It was like, before I met Tiffany, I already knew about Tiffany. Have you ever met Tiffany Peterson? No, I haven't. Oh my gosh, Tiffany is incredible, you guys. She's like, they're like, oh, Tiffany, you have to know her. To know her is to love her, to be affirmed by her. She can see into your soul. She's such a powerhouse. And that is also true, wrapped in this incredible love of the Holy Spirit of God. I mean, just like such a centered, rock solid human. We've had fun adventures in the mall and shopping, and and then you see her on these big stages, and she is here right now. She's transformed a lot of direct sales businesses as well. And so, you know, she's got a wide scope. And today we get to hear about the people principle and nourishing our relationships with Tiffany. And so she's a seasoned speaker and international coach, guiding individuals, teams, and audiences in creating thriving lives and business results. Before her own company, the Lighthouse Principles, Tiffany worked with and many popular brands like the Franklin Covey, you guys, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, world famous Rich Dad Poor Dad, the series, and the Jack Canfield, creator of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. You guys, talk about a rich background. She's been responsible for achieving sales budgets that range upwards to $40 million in annual revenue. And she loves sharing her sales secrets and strategies with others to help them create sustainable income, living their business dreams. This could not be more on time as we are in social isolation, and we're looking to connect more in a lot of different ways. And also, we're just hungry. We see what's so important, and that is really the human beings of our lives are the most important thing. And so how do we make sure that we continue to elevate them, encourage them, connect with them, be loved, and love? Tiffany, welcome to SHE-ness Tribe.
Woohoo! Thank you for having me with y'all. I just love you guys. Roya's the queen. Have you noticed that? Like, the woman just like oozes elegance wherever she goes. The girl's got her energy always on, and I just love that about her. But sincerely, sister, like, I love that you're gathering women very much with the intention of let's collaborate. Let's be in collaboration and support and championing of each other versus the outdated models of competition or comparison and so forth. And so thank you for choosing to use your gifts and your voice for good. Like, you're doing good, sister, and it's an honor. And I just feel like we're gonna have so much joy being here together. So thank you for inviting me to the tribe.
Yeah, girl.
Yeah, girl.
Some of you are excited to be with you here. So tell me, let's go to the beginning of this thought process. If you're going to lay the foundation of what today's topic and subject mean, what does that mean and feel like to you today?
Yeah, I'm so excited. We're going to talk about this specifically in the season that we're in right now as a human race, with all that we're facing with the timing of this and that's up with this virus and isolation and disruption and all the things. I love to study universal principles, right? The things that stand the test of time, that no matter what is happening circumstantially or seasonally, your age, your race, your gender, your industry, And one of those things, so my background heavily, as she was mentioning, is in sales. And I do a hybrid between a mindset or self-care and sales coaching and speaking.
Mm.
So it's kind of that combination between the inner
Mm.
work and the self-work meets the business. And one of those,
And honestly, in sales results or in any big results of anything you want to do, it really has to be a hybrid, doesn't it?
for sure,
One
because,
can't really fully activate without the other.
well, because universally there's a principle at play called saying this, that everything's energy. I'm energy, you're energy, the brands you love or the brands you're not drawn to, everything has an energy. And
Mhm.
so when we look at self-care and self-confidence, and especially with women, that's one of the ongoing themes, as you know, as you work with so many women too, is working with their self-confidence and increasing it, working with my own. And so, the self-care conversation with that is really valuable, and as valuable to as well your business. One of those universal principles that will always stand the test of time is that every single one of us is in the people business.
Mm.
You're in the people business, I'm in the people business, everyone watching live or on replay, every human, whether you're in real estate, whether you're a fellow coach like myself, whether you're in Mary Kay as a queen and rocking it, or any other business, technology, every business, whether for profit, nonprofit, is a people business, right? Like I've even coached pastors of churches how to grow their congregation, and it's always about the heartbeat, right? The heart of your life, the heart of your business
Yeah.
is being in the people business. And so I'm going to teach and share some concepts and things that can help you today around expansion of the thought, and then the implementation of what I call the people principle is at play for every single one of us. And so one of the gifts right now, Roya, of being in this situation, I always think it's like, find the gift. Years ago, I did this TEDx talk called The Gifts of Adversity. And even though we don't have to love adversity, right, or like it, like no one's grateful for disease or grateful for economic issues or challenges, but there's always gifts in adversity. And one of those potential gifts, or the opportunity that's before all of us, is how we can love more and take better care of each other and be more connected. And so right now, even if you, like me, I already worked from home. I just used to do a whole lot of, in the moment for right now, seasonal, there's not all these gatherings and things. But even being at home right now, this is a real opportunity to show up and connect with your relationships, both personal and professional. And I think it will really help you with it will help you with your own wellness and happiness, as well as the potential business either now or in the future, when we really are showing up for people, right? Because the most influential marketing strategy has been, will be, always will be influential, is a 4-letter word. And that 4-letter word is CARE, right? That we show up intentionally to care. One of the things that I love, and I quote this often in my own sales coaching, is there's this quote by Mary Kay Ash. And as you know, like such a pioneer for women, right? What Mary Kay has done, and really being such a pioneer in the direct sales world, and giving women this opportunity to, many of them be able to be at home with children while they also grow an income and a livelihood and their own passion. And one of the things that she's quoted as saying is, she says, imagine that everyone you ever meet is wearing a sign, right? And that sign says, make me feel important.
Yeah.
Do I matter to you? Am I valued by you? Right? Is that you can be the best coach in the world. You could have the best product in the world, or services, most competitive, most advanced, whatever. But how people feel in your presence, online or in person, is your true business card, right? Like, do I matter to you? Do you value me? Am I, in your circle of care and concern? And so I love her and always give great praises to her, because she's been such a pioneer for so many women. It's just changing the game for it.
She also was very clear that it doesn't matter what, just like we were talking about, she always said it doesn't matter what you're selling. She's like, the makeup and the skincare that we have, that's just a non-discriminatory vehicle to meet a human being. And once you meet the human being, your job is to find out what's their need and fill it, whether it's with your product or not. What is that human's need? And the thing that's so impressive, that's starting to unravel in the midst of the stress and the chaos and some of the tragedies of the season we're in right now, I feel like is what you're touching upon, Tiffany, is the narrowing of the noise and eliminating the unimportant to really get clear on we are one race. I mean, we are one, human. We're all interconnected. The whole world's going through this similar thing. And we all have basic need of feeling seen, loved, cared for, and, who, like you just said, like, really not just knowing, but knowing that the people are in your life are the most important thing. And then the other people are also important, and that we're all interconnected. What we do can potentially give life or death. I mean, we're like in that situation right now to others. And then we can take that emotionally, but right now we're in it physically.
Mm-hmm. It's just it's so true. And so, I mean, this principle will be applicable. It was applicable 10 years ago. It'll be applicable 10 years from now. It's just being centered in that and coming back to, nourishing our relationships. So I love to use the phrase nourish your network, right? And years ago, when I worked for Robert Kiyosaki's work, the Rich Dad Poor Dad brand, I remember, I don't know if he's the first person to teach this, but I remember I first learned from him this phrase where he would say, your network equals your net worth. Right. And then he went on to say that the average person looks
Write
for,
that down.
right. Yeah. It's like, that's a tweetable moment. Your network equals your net worth. But he would say the average person looks for a job. And he wasn't saying that, I mean, having a job is very noble. He was saying, and went on to elaborate, that the rich person builds networks, right? And thinking about your relationship capital is sometimes another way, that we call this and that we refer to this. I like to call it the people principle or the relationship business and whatever language, but it's just the same thing. It's like, that's right. And I really believe there's two things that make someone really, there's really two things to be great in sales. And the first is this principle, which is really nourishing your relationships, showing up to add value, showing up to invest, and so forth. We'll talk more in detail about that. And the secondary thing, which feeds the first, is your ability to ask great questions, right? It's in what you're asking and not what you're telling that really influences your conversion and close rates, but really just your ability to touch more lives, right? Is that we're showing up with that mindset to diagnose and then prescribe. And I teach a custom, it's called the 5 Gates of Closing Sales, a question-based sales methodology. What I want to go deeper on, though, that people principle with us today is really just being conscious that as different as we are as humans, and we have so many ways we can differentiate, right? And from the clothing styles that we love, to music we enjoy, to movies, to food preferences. I mean, just think about food, how many preferences, how different we can be with our religious or spiritual beliefs or political beliefs. There's so many ways we could be labeled different, but the core of us, we are all the same. Right. And what you were mentioning is we all have the same core human needs, right? The need to feel seen and appreciated and respected. And are we valued? I'd also, of course, add the need to feel heard. Feeling heard in any relationship is like oxygen to the relationship. Even if you don't agree, right? The issue is not, do we always agree and see eye to eye? Anyone you do long-term life with, or even your social media friends, we have differences. But are we creating a safe and respectful place where someone can feel heard, right? Like, oh, I love to feel that we're
not immediately judged or cut off or discounted.
Yeah, because one of the gifts that I learned from working with Stephen Covey all those years, his work, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of my favorite personal growth books of all time, right? There's so many I love, but that's one of my core 5. He talks about in habit 5, seek first to understand before you're understood. And often we live in a reply where we might hear someone, but hearing and listening are different things. And he also elaborates to say, most often we listen with the intent to reply versus to understand. So we might listen to someone, even nod our head, we're not on our technology, and we're like, hey, I'm hearing you, but we're rehearsing. Like, oh, I know, right? Okay, yeah, I hear you, but just I'm waiting for you to pause or zip it so I can then say my piece. We're not like, are we really just breathe? And are we creating presence? And I can really hear you, and I can really, show up in a way where, and again, everything I'm going to say today, none of us are perfect at this, but we can be committed to. That's my differentiation for me or my coaching clients is not about perfect, but about commitment to, I'm going to be more committed in my relationships today and this week to be present and to really listen, not with an agenda, not with a, here we go, but I just want to hear you.
Yeah. And Tiffany, I found that that was a really hard skill at first because I used to attach more of, will my response be crafted well? Am I going to sound intelligent or dumb? Do I know exactly what to rebuttal to make sure that my point comes across? So that became my primary goal of the conversation. Instead of, once what you're talking about is, once I heard the concept and got the concept of what you're talking about, then I had to shift my mindset to feeling like it is less important that I come across wise, well articulated in my response than it was to make them feel a certain feeling, which was to be heard. And so you can articulate it as, to the cows come home and be the most intelligent in the room, but they're not left feeling with any feeling that you're intending anyway. So it's giving yourself permission to be imperfect in your responses, but as present as you can in the feeling you're giving them. Would you say that?
Yeah, 100% is that, gosh, you just hit it. It's such wisdom in that, is that we think like it isn't about, hey, let me showcase all my skills and showcase all of my attributes, but really is just, the more that people, again, how people feel when they're with you is your true sense of influence. And so whether that's your child and you're trying to influence them, to make good decisions or eat their vegetables or do their homework, or you're trying to influence a city council, or you're influencing your business, your leaders, your sales, is really, when we think about influence, the way we grow that influence is, again, through building trust, right? And most salespeople have heard at some point or another in their life, which, by the way, we're all in sales, right? So I never, ever thought I'd be in sales and not knowing we're all in sales. So but really, to know that being in great people with great sales have great relationship skills. And one of those key skills we can work on is, like you're saying, is presence and listening. And to grow your influence comes from growing and building trust. You've likely already heard at some point, many times over probably, that people buy from those they know, like, and trust. And so that being the case is, you don't have to be salesy or super charismatic or a certain personality type. What matters is just that genuine concern of, let me understand, what are your needs? What are your feelings? And what are your challenges or goals and things that you want and need? And therefore, as you seek to understand and ask good questions and listen and be present to that, then we're in a place where we're building trust and we're growing that sense of ability to influence someone. See, if you show up for me and you really ask me, like, in your world, tell me, sis, like, how confident would you say you feel currently in your, physical self or appearance? Okay. And what's working well for you? What would you like to expand upon? Or, and really seeking to know me, and you're gaining trust with me, that then when you say, well, here's the skincare regimen that I'd recommend for you based on what you've shared. And, with your coloring, or would you, this shade or this thing, again, whatever your industry is, you can, shape it to that. But same thing, if you're in health, I coach a lot of health coaches, asking people, tell me about your health goals and challenges, your energy levels, where are you at right now? And what are you currently facing and up against? And what would you rather experience more of? And, you just really seek to know them and ask, and you gain trust and confidence that you really then have more so the influence to help them, which also could be the equivalent of a sale, right? Or a builder or growth, because you're helping them get their needs met. When we help people get their needs met, which to me is what it means to be in sales, is we're fulfilling a need. We're all a solutions provider. And as you're helping people get their needs met, right, that translates into sales for growing your business.
Right. 100%. Do you have more on that, or I want to ask you about the questions that you ask people? Are we ready for that part?
Yeah, I mean, we can go whichever way you want. If I could, there is probably one more thought or two I just want to share. And
Yeah.
that is simply, it's just asking yourself this question is to think strategically. Again, if we know I'm in the people business, it's asking what are the needs of people? And we've just already identified some of those key things, but then thinking about how am I going to nourish my relationships? What are
Mhm.
the different ways to do that? And sometimes it's a conversation and the questions we're asking. I'm a big fan of the handwritten note, right? It's showing up in people's mailboxes.
Yeah.
You can send gifts, you can send gift cards. One thing that, my team has done is that I have a Starbucks, app and account that has a barcode that you can put money into and fund. And I've had my designer just create a couple of little pretty memes around that barcode. And one says, happy birthday. One says thank you. One says happy holidays, that type of thing. So even it's a virtual gift card that then I text to someone if it's their birthday, or a thank you, or I appreciate you. And hey, have a cup of coffee or hot cocoa, your favorite treat on me. And
Oh, wow.
such a simple thing that then I can, feed that. That's
Wait, where
maybe.
do you get that? You get that on starbucks.com or what?
Yeah, so on your phone, you just download the app, the Starbucks app, and
Yeah.
then you create your own account, and then you can fund it, right? Because I love gift cards, but sometimes you buy gift cards and send them out in the mail. People don't always use them, right? I have so many gift cards. I mean, several I've used, but some I
Yeah.
haven't. But
Yeah.
this is virtual that it just then deducts out of your account based on who uses your barcode at Starbucks when they check out.
So when you share your barcode, do they get unlimited access to whatever's in your account?
I mean, technically they could. So years before my social platforms had grown, I had even put this out on social platforms. I've since changed the code because yeah, there was a handful towards the end it was just connected to thousands and thousands of people I
You're
didn't know.
like, hmm,
Yeah, like
I need a
some
lot
people
of
have
coffee.
bucks going out at Starbucks because they're buying snacks and treats and all the things. And you're like, okay, but now I send it individually, right?
Yeah.
And to people that I love, like, hey, Roya, have a cup of coffee on me, your favorite treat, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Uh, but whether they use it or not use it,
Yeah.
it's a deposit. And I think I'd love to start that thread here in this Facebook Live in the comments is what are ways that you nourish your clients or
Mm.
friends, your relationships overall? What are ways you nourish your relationships? And, or how have you been nourished that really stands out to you? And,
Mm.
like for
That's a
me,
great question.
right? Like what nourishes you?
Yeah.
How's you been well nourished and how are you nourishing others? And let's collaborate and share. I know for me, one thing, like in this last while, like certain people have reached out just to check on me, and that has gone so far. It's a simple text, right? It's like, are you doing okay? If you need anything, I'm here for you.
Mm.
And that these are people all, long after this virus, we come through this season that we're in. The reality is like these are people I'm going to remember forever because
Mhm.
when we were in a time of need and everyone's busy and things, they took the time to just even check in on me, like, are you okay, girl, and how are you doing? And let alone like recently one of my coaching clients, when we were teaching this lesson in our coaching group, I was teaching them that right now the gift of social media is you can follow someone's feed and likely get a feel for what they're into. Maybe they love a good tea, or maybe they're a total coffee lover, or they're all about green smoothies, or they're into lush bath bombs, right? This is the example I gave. As I said, I was sharing how a woman years ago that I nurtured, she was hosting a really large personal development conference that she would do once a year. And you and I both have hosted lots of events, Roya, so you know that sometimes those are stressful moments.
Yeah.
And I knew this woman, based on her social feed, loved lush bath bombs, as do I. And I just packed up a self-care kit with like a nice candle and like a couple bath bombs and just a note the week of her conference saying, hey, I'm thinking of you, wishing you all the best with your conference. And here's
Wow.
a little self-love in a box. Well, I
Wow.
was with my coaching clients, literally my coaching group, just like a few weeks ago. And one of my clients sent me a box of like a couple of bath bombs just saying, hey, thanks for being my coach and being so great. And I was like over the moon. And that probably cost her maybe $20, based
Yeah.
on, again, it can be a cup of coffee, it can be a handwritten note, it can be more
Yeah.
extensive, you can send whatever, but just she was paying attention, girl, like
Yeah.
paying attention and was like, I'm living the very thing you're coaching me to do. Like I'll remember this girl and client now, you know, like she's just put herself in a place of saying, hey, I see you, I hear you. So
Yeah.
social media teaches you a lot about people's interests. And if you're nourishing a relationship and, you know,
What a great point.
like, right, what a difference that makes. And you go, hey, one last one I want to share with you because it's cute.
That is so juicy. Okay,
Yes.
keep sharing. I got to unplug this filter. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's an air cleaner and it's got static. And I'm like, it's getting in
Oh,
my sound. And you're
oh, I
and I don't want any interference. So keep going.
awesome. So one other one, and you can still hear me, I hope, Roya, because you're going to love this and smile at this. But I'm single and dating. And so I've been divorced a little over almost 6 years and dating and so forth. Well, at least this is probably 2 months ago. And this guy is a great guy and we're great friends. And so even though there wasn't really sparks for me in that way, it wasn't like something, but we were going out on a date, you know, because we'd been friends and kind of exploring if maybe there was more and so forth. But he was paying attention. Like I talk about, I'm a big fan of peanut butter cups. You know, I eat pretty clean, but occasionally I'll have a peanut butter cup. I love, like, isn't chocolate and peanut butter one of the best combinations ever?
Ever.
Ever, right?
I agree. Yes.
I mean, up there with dry shampoo and self tanner. You know, I mean, there's some
Oh my
serious.
gosh, I have the best self tanner for you.
I need it because clearly you see how
Oh,
glowing.
okay.
Yeah. But you know, dry shampoo, self tanner, anyway, peanut butter cups, but somewhere like I'd made a cute, funny post that it was on my social media talking about like 5 things to be, you know, to get grounded. And it was like, take a walk, write in your gratitude journal. And then the 5th one was peanut butter cups, you know. So he's paying attention. So he showed up to this date and instead of flowers, he had this little tub of peanut butter cups, right? So
That's
magical,
really
so
impressive.
wonderful. Right. So even though, you know, romantically there's not that connection there, the reality of like our friendship, like there's just ways is for humans, all the things, the ways, there's so many ways we can nourish our relationships. Handwritten note, thank you for your time, or I'm thinking of you, to texts, to sending out free content, to someone's favorite treat, to treating them to a pedicure, to, hey, I just thought of you and I saw that your son is way into soccer and I saw this, you know, cute thing and wanted to send you this image or this video or this gift. It's just thinking with that mindset regularly is how can I help other people feel loved, valued, appreciated, and seen? And when you have that kind of mindset, that's $1 million mindset that translates into having $1 million business. And for some of you, you're maybe saying, hey, I'm not looking for literally $1 million, but if you want to have a thriving, sustainable business, that mindset is the foundation of a sustainable business, is that you're like, I'm here to care. I'm here always thinking like, I want Roya to feel loved. I want to feel valued, seen. Any of you, as you're living that mindset, that's how we really create or influence your business.
And to me, it's living a high value, high vibe life. I mean, if you have those kind of depths of relationships personally, that's a high vibe life.
High vibe life, sis. And isn't that really, when we use the word rich, that's what we're talking about in all the ways of the word, is that you have rich relationships and a rich life and a rich business. I think really matters. Can I give you this is out of my sales coaching handbook, but I want to show an image group. Yeah, I want to give it all. So I want to show.
We're not going to say no to anything, Tiffany.
What?
We're not going to say no to anything.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Bring it all.
You want a blank piece of paper and you can draw your own grid with this, but I want you to draw a line down the center vertically and a line horizontally. So you create a 4-quadrant grid. And I'm just going to show you, this is the image.
Yeah.
You can see it. And then I'll tell you what each box says. So you create your own image. So at the center of it, the heart says nourish relationships. Okay. So top left says personal, you know, your personal relationships. If you have a significant other, your friendships, siblings, your children, right? It's really foundationally, we're going to look at this as all relationships, because a lot of times when it comes to quote sales, we think of simply getting new customers. We think recruiting new business rather than the focus on taking care of, yes, that's one of the quadrants, but there's 3 other quadrants that I think you can go richer, deeper, and that will have a ripple effect for your business. So top left is personal. friendships, family, right? Those relationships to nourish them. Top right says existing clientele. This could also be if you're in direct sales, your existing leaders, people that are already clients, customers, or building a business with you. But any kind of existing clientele, again, whether you're corporate, self-employed, direct sales, but existing clientele. Mm-hmm. Bottom left is peers. In direct sales, we call that a lot of times cross lines, but your peers, like if you're corporate employed, people who are managers of other departments, you manage this piece and this manage that piece. In my world, it's lots of fellow coaches and trainers like Roya and I are very much in up to similar missions, right? And love and supporting each other in that. So even though I consider her a friend, she might be in my top left. She's also one of my peers who is also out there doing her gift. And a collaboration like we're doing today is saying, let's collaborate and share gifts together, right? But a peer relationship. And then bottom right is new relationship. And so again, thinking about this strategically, and I like the word intentionally. Intention is one of my favorite words of all time. Last fall, I heard John Maxwell speak, and he said something so profound. I'm still speaking about it 5-6 months later. And he said this, he said, aging is automatic, right? Aging is automatic. It's going to be April 1st here in a few days. Before we know it, it'll be the holiday season again. It'll be 2021. You know, is aging or time goes by. Now, a lot of us are working on like, how do we slow the aging train down? Mary Kay has a lot of great products for that. It's like, hey, but the reality is what he went on to say, which was so important and so true, is he says, aging is automatic. Growth must be intentional. Mm-hmm. Isn't that so true? And so growing relationships, here's something to remember is every relationship you're already in will never outgrow the need to feel seen, significant, valued, and important to you. Mm-hmm. Never. I have that need. She has that need. You all watching or listening have that need. Everyone you do life with. Yes, we have this need. And so sometimes,
that's so good.
Yeah, capture it in the comments. I want to come back and watch it myself. Yeah. Right? Because it's like, oh yes, I need implementing this. Because again, a lot of times in a new relationship, we're really intentional. When you're dating and you put your best foot forward, or when you're really courting that next new client, right? And you're real intentional to show up and to nourish and to love and to bring your best foot forward. But to always have that be our mindset to relationship, that we're saying, hey, I'm going to regularly nourish my relationship. So the assignment I have for you is to identify 3 people in each quadrant that you're drawn to nourishing, and doing that in the next week. So 12 relationships in the next 7 days. I'm going to challenge you as your coach to actively nourish. And so, and you can do more than that, of course, but personal, existing, peers, new relationships is choosing to say, whether again, it's a simple text to a handwritten note, to you private message someone in their Instagram account and saying, hey, I really appreciate what you're about. Or you send off, a gift, or you send off coffee, or, whatever it might be. And there's various ways. I get like when times change, there's things where you say, okay, maybe we're going to Zoom more. Yeah. And I've done that. I just got off one of those, right? Where it's like, hey, a new relationship for me. And we've been friends on LinkedIn and messaging some, and we were planning to go to lunch recently. Well, that's been changed. So I said, let's meet for tea on Zoom.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
Let's do a Zoom chat. Right? Is you can still absolutely be nourishing your relationships right now. And right now you might be nourishing more of your personal ones, right? Checking in on the people you love, your close friends, sending off that text, I'm thinking of you, I'm praying for you. Here's a podcast or a meditation that I listened to that really helped me. Let me share it to you. Sending good content or things to your email list. There's lots of ways we can be nourishing, but I just want to make sure we tuck that image in, is because I think a lot of times we hear this principle and we go, oh yeah, that's right, we need to do it. But I need you, if you're really saying I want deep roots and I really want to grow my sales, then we must be, again, you can call it strategic or intentional about it, that every week, like all my private clients, one of their must-do check-ins is minimal. They must nourish 5 relationships a week as part of why we're coaching together. That's 20 people a month, or 25 based on the month that we're in. But 5 a week, and again, that could be simply a phone call. That could be a handwritten note. That could be even just a text. It could be when, meeting for lunch or something like that, or right now meeting on Zoom. But it's just the intention behind it is we know like this isn't new training, right? Like this isn't new awareness. I'm just putting it in your consciousness. But where it really creates from being, oh, that's a nice idea, which nice ideas don't change your life or change your business. Only applied ideas or applied coaching will change your life. And so it's saying, how am I going to intentionally get about this week or this month or moving forward always? Where will this live in my calendar? So anyway, thank you. I just felt so passionate. Like, oh, I want to share this with your group. I want them to have
going wild for it right now. And you know, we have a mutual friend in Randy Garn, and you're reminding me of my conversation with him, who's had a lot of businesses, you guys, and a lot of accolades. But I think it was maybe, Tiffany, you're very close to, maybe I'm wrong on the timeline, but I believe he shared with me about 3 years ago, he made a very conscious decision to really nourish intentional relationships and picking like his top 5 people he wanted to really focus on for a certain amount of time. And I've watched him, I've known him now for 2.5, 3 years, and I've watched the monumental growth and explosion in his own, even though he was mega before, it's like, oh my gosh, the mega influence and the mega friendships and the incredible opportunities that are now generating because he did one thing, and that was to add more value without expecting anything in return, with intentional people, just like you're teaching right now. So you're teaching a multi-million dollar concept that we all know about, like you said, that you're bringing into the forefront as being the most important thing to do on all levels.
And the one thought I would just add to that is you just never know who's connected to who. And so treating everyone with love and kindness and intention, like, and I mean, right now, aren't you feeling so grateful for cashiers or people working in grocery stores?
Yes. I mean,
and so like everyone, you just, so yes, nourish your relationships of all levels, be intentional, and allow that to just cascade through every part of your life, where we're just choosing to see each other more. We're choosing to acknowledge, we're choosing to appreciate. Thank you. You know, for the first time in my life, I'm going to probably, I'm getting me a little emotional about this, but like, and I'm also, you know, I've always been pleasant to a lot of cashiers, but you know, a couple of days ago, the last time I went to the grocery store, and really not going very much, but just to stock up on fresh fruits and vegetables, I went over the weekend. And like for the first time in my life, I just said, thank you so much for working and being here.
Like really feeling that.
Yeah. And so, you know, every one of us needs this, and we're all belong to each other. I just know like the consciousness of like every human you are ever around, their biggest need is, do I matter?
Yeah.
It's mine, it's yours, every one of us. And there's different ways we get those needs met. And this is why sometimes, like every one of you who's a parent, you're conscious about who influences your children, right? Because even, you know, sometimes children or adults will make choices, like even if they say sometimes kids are in a gang, you know, and they're part of, but it's because they find their belonging there. They matter there to that tribe of people. That is such a inbred need for all of us. Is like, do I matter? And so when we think about this, if you're a real estate agent, if you're in beauty, if you are in health, whatever technology, is everyone you do life and business with is just practicing these people skills to say, I'm going to practice present listening. I'm going to practice asking more questions. I'm going to practice paying attention to saying, gosh, what really matters to them? And, you know, what really is the things that are important to them. And then we, you know, meet that need, and that we show up in that way. This is what, again, the heartbeat of the people principle. This is it. It's like, yes, you can grow your social media, you can work on marketing and doing different things, but the heartbeat is always people. And when you make people your business or your priority, then everything follows suit in that, you know? Anyway.
There's so much depth in you're saying with that. And there's so many layers that you can go deep into practicing what you're talking about. And so, you know, we just have to begin where we're at and ask ourselves, what else, where else, how else can I show up better for another human being? Tiffany, we have the question and the question subject still on the table, we've come to a space where we should honor time. I'm just going to throw it out there. Hopefully you'll come out back again and we can talk about the art of asking questions, or if they want to know more about that specific subject or anything else that you coach on, let's tell them how to find you and wrap again your areas of expertise, and we'll have you post your links in
Okay,
the comments.
perfect. You can find me. My main hub website is tiffanyspeaks.com. There's a tab under free resources. There's lots of things there, from goal setting to self-care to sales training. There's a lot of content you can access there. On social, I'm most active on Instagram, which is Tiff Peterson. You can find me there, or Facebook. I'm very active there as well. There also is, I'd love to come back and do a live training. If in the interim you want on my website, my shop is my sales mastery kit, and disc 3 talks heavily about questions and the 5 gates. I'll have my assistant, as we wrap this, I'll have her create a custom code just for your group that's 50% off.
Wow.
Product.
You kind of blurted out how much percent off?
50% off.
50% off, you guys. Wow.
And but give me 1 minute. Like, it won't be live until I'm just doing this in live time. I'll have her set up. Use the word SHE-ness in all caps at checkout, and it will take it to 50% off for that, if you're wanting it right away. If not, let's rebook for sure when you're, in the weeks or months to come with your schedule. And I'd love to go through a full live training of that as well. But yeah, I'd love to stay connected online and great content. I'd love to hear from you. I'm going to come back and watch and read this myself and see your comments and what you're up to and ways that you're nourishing your relationships. Again, you don't have to be perfect at this principle. None of us get it right 100% of the time. But we can be committed to say, I'm going to be committed to team love, right? I'm going to be committed to sharing and seeing and being conscious to be more present. I'm going to practice this as you go through the rest of today. Just practice being more aware, to seek to understand, and paying attention and acknowledging people, right? And being like, there's, it doesn't cost any money to compliment someone, to say, Roya, I just see in you so much beauty and so much goodness, and you're such a bright light, and thank you for gathering us. That doesn't cost us anything, and it's sincere and it's heartfelt. And again, whether it's acknowledging your cashier, to your significant other, to your friends, to your siblings, to your neighbors, is just choosing to be the kind of people that's saying, we're going to nourish the good in the world. That's who we are. And when you nourish the good, that whether you call it the law of reciprocity, the law of the tithe, the law of karma, that it's like you showing up to say, I'm going to be in the business. Like, I believe God's business, his currency is always service. Whether you want to say charity, service, deep purpose comes from being that. And as it then comes back to you as well, right? Like, it's just, you're in that dance of the spiritual economy. The spiritual economy at play is always service and love based. It's always about that.
This could not have been more timely. You and I talked about that. You never know what's coming up. We schedule these things way in advance. We're booked through May now for our speakers. And Tiffany, I know you rock a very solid schedule. And so we're just so grateful to have you. I just want to end with this thought, you guys. What Tiffany also just gave us is what we send out in the lives of others always comes back into our own tenfold, right? And so what she gave us is a core random act of kindness that's simple. Whenever in this season of potential lots of depression, the more we give like this, the more we can raise our own spirit, elevate our own excitement, and give ourselves that zip to the day, to that moment, and pride in ourselves that we might have been missing. And we don't have to get out of our house to do it right now while we can't. And we don't have to fight that process. And maybe, just maybe, this whole circumstance right now just allows us to be able to spend more quality time in coming up with more avenues and areas and practicing everything that Tiffany shared, to insert more random acts of kindness to other people, and therefore fill our spirit to make our spirit sparkle again. So thank you for allowing our spirit to sparkle everywhere we go and everything we do, Tiffany. And you sparkle and shine, and your wisdom is so deep. Your clarity is so, we're able to just repeat what you've done because you're so clear in your delivery on how to do it. So thank you for transferring your best into our bodies and being here with us today. God bless you, my SHE-ness friend.
Having me in your tribe. I love you, friend. We'll be in touch.
Beautiful.